Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We are on season 2, episode 2.
Rolling
if you
right
guys have
into it.
missed
Episode
any
2.
of the
Let's
one,
go.
if you've missed any of the other ones, feel free to go back, watch them. But today's topic, it's Oprah's open mic. I forgot to say that.
Oprah's open mic with your host, Erin and
Sean
Sean Oprah.
We are here
No.
to dive into nutrition. I've said it over and over and over, but we're going to dive into it deep today because I'm a firm believer nutrition is king.
Nutrition is king. The workouts?
Queen.
There's
Movement
a
is
clear
queen.
hierarchy there.
But the thing is, you put the two together, what's that duo going to give you? Oh, yeah.
A solid marriage of health and nutrition.
How about that? So there's so many things going around. Obviously, you guys have seen me talking about protein, upping your protein. And I've always been a firm believer in this. It wasn't anything new, but through a bunch of DMs, I was like, wait, are women this low on protein? And it is astronomically low. As an average that women are eating, including my clients. This isn't just people online.
Are men as insufficient in this area as
No,
women?
men are not-
Men have this.
I would say men tend to eat more protein, but I just found
Maybe we should
holy
lay
cow.
off the bacon a little bit.
Maybe.
But
There isn't actually that much protein in bacon.
oh,
But so I was like, we have to change this. And so I was like, let's start educating people the importance of protein. And it's not just the importance of protein. Like, yes, I've been talking about protein, but it's also everything combined. Like, you need everything to make it full circle. There's so many diets out there right now. And I'm not a believer in diets. Obviously, my book is called The 4x4 Diet, but I didn't put the word diet on there.
no, this right here is because of a lifestyle. It's not because you've been crashing on a diet for 20 years.
No, I haven't changed. So when I went through my lean down,
Boy, howdy, do I wish you would change just a little bit.
but when I went through my lean down,
Stubborn.
I didn't change my philosophy. I still did the exact same thing. I don't do starches at night, which is carbs, not complex carbs. I do non-starchy complex carbs.
All
and
right.
that would be
give me an example of a starchy
Okay,
complex
here-
carb. Something normally people would have for dinner. That might
Rice.
even be healthy.
rice, quinoa.
You don't have a
Pasta.
problem with rice.
I don't have a problem with those, but I suggest you eat those earlier in the day because that is your energy source. If you don't burn it, you store it. And I think that it needs to be eaten in correct portions, not overeaten. Look at a serving size. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you exactly what to eat. Read the food label. The food label is your education. If you I don't understand or I don't have a food label, Google it. If you want to know what is a serving of XYZ of oatmeal, you can Google it and it will tell you everything.
You can Google just about everything. Or, as some like to do, just DM Erin
ask me.
for Googleable answers.
Okay. But no, seriously. So I don't do starchy complex carbs, but also complex carbs are vegetables such as broccoli, asparagus, lettuce. Those are complex carbs too, but they're non-starchy. So those are my dinner starches or dinner
carbs,
veggies.
yeah. Dinner carbs.
Complex carbs, yes. So I always compare it. Put it with a lean protein and a complex carb. Every time I eat, this is talked about in my book, The 4x4 Diet. Every time I eat, I balance out with a complex carb and a protein. This keeps your insulin being released correctly. But right now, I feel like the world has gone to you're either keto, you're paleo. Right now, the huge one is carnivore. The other huge one is vegan. You're all one thing. And I think what we are forgetting in life is the word balance. And that is my philosophy. I feel like if you go all in and say, I'm only
has always
eating
been your
meat and
philosophy,
eggs,
yeah.
you're I'm not saying your body wouldn't get results, but I
think people have because I think most of the time when those things fail is because they didn't follow them to a T.
Oh, 100%.
Right? But that's the problem is that it's hard to just eat carnivore. It's hard to just be vegan.
Because it's not a practical lifestyle.
It's not a practical lifestyle. So,
I'm not saying that whatever
you end up
one you
cheating
decide
and
to do,
ruining it.
you can't get results if you're consistent. And you're consistent until you're not consistent. And that's where the problem comes in. You're consistent. And then 6 weeks in, or maybe it's 6 months in, you're like, damn, I've had my fill of this. I'm out. Or you have a cheat meal, or what I would say, enjoy some of the goodies, and then you can't get yourself back on track.
Technically,
and then you spiral.
anorexia works if you follow it correctly.
That is terrible.
It is terrible. As far as a lot of other diets go too. Yeah, it's horrible. But you know what I mean?
Pull that quote and be like, Erin says anorexia works. That is.
But it doesn't mean it's
healthy.
just because it works doesn't mean it's healthy for you. It needs to have a balance of what eating healthy means as beyond what actually works.
And I say eating clean, balanced, and the biggest thing we can do, hands down, up your protein and watch your processed food. Processed food. So that's going to cut most sugar out because most things with sugar in it are processed as a majority. Watch your carb intake. Eat them in smaller portions and eat them earlier in the day. But if you were going carnivore, man, they're like anti-veggies, anti-fruit, they say basically you get they really want you to go to livers. Like I was watching about livers and hearts.
Lord, who does this? Who wants to?
Actually, you know what's funny is
livers and heart. There might be a decent amount to add it into your diet, but like that's not what you want to eat. You're just forcing yourself to do it.
I actually think I'm going to add some livers in because the nutrition in them is insanely good.
Yeah, is that the only thing you should eat?
No.
Is that what you should prepare for your husband? No.
But I seriously, I want you guys to not overcomplicate eating. Now, will living a healthy, balanced lifestyle take a little bit longer than maybe if you went full-blown keto or you went full-blown carnivore? Shut up, Sean. If you went any of those, would it take a little longer? It will. But I also feel like maybe longer is the best option because slow and steady wins the race. It's longevity. I believe my philosophy and the way I live my life every day is easy to live by. I don't go without. I live at balance. I still enjoy the goodies, but I don't enjoy them in big portions.
That's very fair.
I will.
You have an incredible body, and yet every time I buy an almond paste, like bakery item, you have some absolutely a little bit every day, but your bites are insanely small.
Yes,
you have a lot of mental capacity not to eat it all.
I do. I can eat like the size of my fingernail and I'll walk away, but it's so good. So I always say once you get the first taste and it's so good, it's feel like the next bite and the next bite, you're chasing that first bite. You're chasing that same flavor because you're never going to get there. Sean's like, I'm going to eat the whole thing and with hopes I'll make it there.
I get there.
But the portion control is a must. Like if you're going to have a piece of pizza, fine. If you eat the whole large pizza like I used to do, not so fine. Do you know how long it's going to take you to recoup from that? Like if you lose weight Monday.
That was back when, you were playing a ton of soccer and you would work out and run and play soccer. And then you'd be like, I'm going to eat a whole pizza. And you looked phenomenal, but you were definitely bloated. Like you could tell.
So Monday through Friday, I would lean down. Friday night, I'd have 2 glasses of wine, a whole large pizza. We'd each order Domino's. He get his thin crust.
It's incredible.
It was so good. Pepperoni, bacon.
Miss those days.
And then we would share a dessert. And so every bit I lost, I would gain that back. And then I'd be good the rest of the weekend, but it would take me all week to get back to where I was. So it's like I just maintain. So I went up, down, but I literally just maintain. And I think in order to break that, you can still have that piece of pizza, but you don't need to be the hero and eat the whole box of pizza. You can have a piece of pizza and be a happy camper. So the biggest thing is to fill up on the goodies and then have your piece of pizza. So it's your last thing you eat. And then it's super tasty. You're like, that was so good. But you're already content. You're not hungry going into it. If you go into it hungry, if you go to a party hungry, if I go to a restaurant hungry, if I go to anything hungry, my willpower goes down astronomically. I'm like, give it to me all. Give it to me, baby. But no, seriously. So my key for if you're going out to eat or you're going to a party is to chug a protein shake.
Yeah, that's your newest thing. You used to have like a really healthy salad before.
I used to eat a full meal and then go out, and then I'd be okay. It did work. Both of them work, but this one's just easier. I chug a shake, which is delicious. It's a chocolate protein powder with PB2 in it. Put water in it. Shake, shake, shake. Chug.
Those people who don't know what PB2 is, it is a powdered peanut butter. Yes. So it adds another flavor. Or you can get some peanut butter chocolate protein shakes too out there.
It is not even the same. I've tried ones that have chocolate peanut butter. It does not compare. It's really good. So I just drink that, and then 30 minutes later, I'm actually very content. And so when I go out to eat, I can have willpower. Like I can make decisions, and Sean will order something that I'm like, I really want some of that. So I just eat a bite of his, and then I eat my whole meal. And that helps.
I think it's fun for me anyway, because we've been living a healthy lifestyle for a long time, but you've never talked you've never talked bad about any sort of fad diets that have come around.
No.
You really haven't. I tried to get her to talk us about all these fad diets on this very podcast, and she refused to, because most of them, in your opinion, have good elements.
There's benefits to everything, and I think if you can take the benefits from all these things and put them together, like there's benefits for carnivore, which is big on red meat and big on the livers and the hearts. I think there is true benefits to that. We should be eating
your protein and
upping your protein, red meat,
clean, healthy.
But listen to this, like
red meat
and eggs. So okay, here's a story. So I've always not liked red meat. I hated red meat. I never ate red meat until when I became anemic.
Oh, you didn't hate red meat.
But I just didn't eat it.
Yeah, that's fair. I was like, what are you talking about? I hate red meat.
No, it would never be something I didn't eat.
No, you did chicken.
Yeah, I always did chicken or turkey or whatever, but red meat or fish. But red meat was never something that went through. And then one day I became severely anemic, and it was awful. It was
mid-run.
Yeah, and it happened. I was running full marathons, and then I got to where I seriously couldn't even run a mile. I felt like I was dying.
Yeah.
And I sat on the curb and I just started crying. I was like, it must be because I'm so old now. I was in my late 30s. And I honestly thought it was age. And so it happened several times. And then I was like, forget this. I'm going to the doctor. And they tested me for everything. They called me. They said, you're severely anemic. And they said, do you eat red meat? And I said, no. And so they put me.
But you didn't do it on purpose. You just didn't do it.
I just didn't do it. Yeah. I wasn't against it. I had no morals against it. I wasn't anti-red meat. It wasn't anything other than it was never like.
So it didn't cross your mind.
No, it didn't. I didn't dislike it. I also didn't love it. So it wasn't like I need red meat. I just was something I didn't eat. And so he said, you can either eat red meat or you have to go on these iron supplements. And I was like, This is prescription ones.
Yeah, you went on the prescription
and
for a short time.
Pregnant.
I'll tell you what, man, those iron supplements are dense and they really mess with your body. If you can do anything to avoid certain meds, like iron supplements, whatever, holy cow, yeah.
Yeah, so I looked like I was pregnant. I called him and he's like, cut it in half. And I still looked pregnant. And he's like, and so I tried everything besides eating red meat, natural. And he's like, yours is so low, it's not going to fix. And then I started adding one fillet a week in red meat, and it changed it.
Yeah,
almost
basically
instantly.
You had meat Mondays instead of meatless Monday. You had meat Monday,
and I didn't look forward to those days, but it was such a benefit to me. And now I crave red meat. That's
been a recent thing.
It has been in the last 6 months, I think. All I want, I could eat red meat for every meal. I don't do it.
You don't.
I'm not carnivore, but I do love it. And I will say, as soon as I feel my iron, because I feel it in my eyes, that's the first place I feel it, is my eyes. I was like, oh man, my iron's low.
That's weird. They never told me that.
We've talked about it.
Your eyes?
Yeah, it gets a little spotty when I'm in the gym. No. It's always when I work out, my eyes get a little bit, and I was like, oh geez, it's my iron. I can always tell my iron going down. And so I would add red meat, but now I've been eating it regularly. I haven't had any issues with iron. But the other thing is eggs. Eggs have had a terrible name as well as red meat for a long time. And my doctor, the last time I went for a physical a while back, I was eating a lot of eggs. Like 30.
Yeah, well.
But only 3 whole ones a day.
Okay. It wasn't 30 eggs a day. I'd say at least a dozen a day.
Oh, no.
Least.
Back then?
And then it was maybe 1 whole egg, but the rest were egg whites.
No, 3 whole eggs a day, easily.
No, you're wrong.
Bitch, please.
Honestly, I like just saying that because arguing with you when you're talking about yourself and things you know very clearly about yourself, I like just saying that she's wrong. It makes me happy.
So I would eat at least 3 whole eggs a day, and the rest are egg whites, which don't have the cholesterol. And he's like, well, your cholesterol has to be really high. We need to check all your numbers. And my cholesterol was perfect. And so,
just like you, babe.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that there is some myths to it. I have been reading about cholesterol a lot lately, and they're changing a lot of perspectives. So I suggest you guys just read into cholesterol. It's actually become a really interesting subject lately, and I don't feel like I'm educated enough to really dive into it. I think you need to go to more educated people to listen to that. But what I'm saying is don't be scared of these things, but I also don't think just because they're saying red meat's good, do I think it should be every meal? No. Just because I think eggs are great. Eggs are one of the number 1 things for your brain health. Do I think it should be every meal? No. Now, if you want to do egg whites every meal, go for it.
Yeah, I've reduced eggs significantly since they were on my my Pinner test results. Yeah.
But like cottage cheese is a huge thing right now. It's a great source of protein. But I also don't think you should overload in dairy. So I think that it just balance it out. I think that you need vegetables. Also think there's nothing wrong with oatmeal if eaten in correct portions. So I used to not eat it in correct portions. My dream was to eat a whole crock pot. How many times did I say?
Just a dream would be to eat oatmeal every single meal, and eat the whole crock pot when she made it. Absolutely, yes. Just engorge yourself on oatmeal.
I love oatmeal. So my dream was to eat the whole crock pot, which is 8 servings of oatmeal when I would make it, and I would have to make myself stop. I ate way over the correct portion. And so when I went through my lean down, I really corrected my portions and really upped my proteins. And my calories went down. When I say they went down to 2,100 from about 3,000. So it's not like it's not like I'm starving myself. So you guys that want to tell me I am anorexic, that's the furthest thing from the truth. Even though Sean obviously thinks anorexia is great.
No, I don't. That's not the point I was making. It's very clear, okay?
But no. So I stay in the 2,000, 2,200. Sometimes, lately I've just been a pig. I've been hungry. Give me all the meat. I don't know what it is lately, but I've been craving meat.
Yeah. But you still have a balanced
absolutely. I love my eggs. Eggs, if you're going to say what is your favorite food, eggs, hands down, is my favorite food. Has been for eggs and oatmeal for years and years and years.
Well, what if somebody were... they didn't eat quite as lean as you, but they worked out as hard as they can.
You cannot out-train a bad diet.
You cannot out-train a bad diet. The workouts are queen. The nutrition is king.
Yeah, if you could just get, not that I'm telling you don't work out, you can lean your body down just by your eating. But you want to make your shape change, that's where the workouts are going to help. All-day movement is going to help with your mood. It's going to help with your energy level. So that's just your walking. And let's just not knock cardio, too. I know cardio right now is everyone's like, don't do cardio, don't do cardio. I see that all over the place. I'm like, are you guys crazy? Cardio is fantastic. But do I think you should only do cardio or only do weights? No, that's where the problem of it's not all one thing and it's not all another thing. Put everything together. There's greats in everything. If you combine it all, it's going to be a freaking win-win for you. And if you're consistent, that's where the true gold prize comes in. You're going to get a big gold sticker. If you can be consistent, and I'm not talking like for 6 weeks. I'm talking like day in, day out. There's no diet to this. It's just consistently eating unprocessed foods, making sure you're getting enough protein in, hydrating, moving your body, doing your strength training. This becomes your lifestyle. You're in it for the long haul. You're going to feel incredible. Incredible. It's not a crash course. This one isn't a crash course. My belief is not a crash course. So the 4x4 diet dives all into that. And it dives into alcohol too. Do I think alcohol is terrible? 100%. Do I have a problem with drinking some? No.
Yeah, and you're not an alcoholic.
Oh, yeah, I got accused.
You get accused of a lot of things.
But I did get accused.
But it's all in moderation. Everybody's heard moderation before, but
it's true moderation.
You want to be moderate. Like, we want you to be moderate in your dieting. Like, we don't want you to crash course it. We want you to enjoy your life. And I think that's the biggest thing I push on my clients is like, I wanted to lose this last 1 or 2 pounds, and we're on it. We're doing strength training. We're talking about diet. But are you unhappy? Like, are the things you're doing making you unhappy?
Because you're going to quit.
So make sure that you're enjoying yourself, and your mind should be on these healthy things and this consistency of movement and cardio and eating clean and some of the things you talk about in your book, The 4x4 Diet. Absolutely. But you have to be happy. And that's why we are very much against a all this diet or an all that diet.
Because your whole world is consumed and your identity becomes your diet. We are so much more than our diet. That is a portion of what goes on in ourself, but we should not be defined by what we eat. Like, I don't like that. Like, I don't think that you need to say, I'm a vegetarian. Well, be whatever you want to be, but it shouldn't identify you, and neither should carnivore, neither should any of these things. You are an awesome person, and you happen to do this.
Not everybody's awesome. Let's be very clear. Me and you are, and there's quite a few listeners that are awesome.
All right, so
you just said everybody's awesome. Everybody knows everybody. Big
question ladies are asking of why do we need more protein? And let's dive into this a little bit, because there's a myth of protein in women that they think it's really just bodybuilders, and it's just men need the protein to put on those big muscles. And that's the furthest thing from the truth is these muscles will help you longevity. They will help you if you happen to have a fall later on in life.
Protein does help add muscle if you are weightlifting.
No, we're going to dive into it. But yes, but if you have a fall later in life and you have muscles, it's going to help you heal faster. You will heal better, and you might not actually break the bone because your bone density could be stronger too. So you need muscle. I'm not saying you need big, bulky bodybuilding muscles, and you're not going to get that. Like, in order to get that, living a healthy lifestyle, balanced and not obsessing and doing crazy things is not going to get you a bodybuilding build. It just isn't. So,
okay, I have a question, since we're just the bodybuilders build, right? If you see it, what do you believe when you see a woman with a heavy appearance of muscle and large muscle?
I see an ass ton of work.
Do you see ass ton of work, or do you see something else they're doing?
There's probably a combination of all of it.
It's in my mind, I don't believe it's completely natural. There's doing something to help it.
Yes,
like creatine.
Well,
that's on the mild part of it.
But creatine is pretty natural. Like creatine actually.
Yeah, I'm not saying creatine's bad, but like most people who are strength training aren't taking creatine. Like the people who are worried about getting too big, they're not taking creatine.
I actually disagree with that, because right now creatine is a huge thing for women that are going through perimenopause and menopause, and they're actually really recommending creatine. I read about it, and I had been fearful of creatine because I've seen my kids do it, and I'm just like, I don't really like that. And I did it. I did it for 3 months. And remember Kenny, he worked with me, and we changed different dosage and different types, and I just looked puffy. So one thing I don't do is creatine. Am I saying don't do creatine? No, but I'm saying that you need to watch your body. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't work for you, then don't do it. But it's something you can try, because it is supposed to help put muscle mass on. And we need muscle mass. We don't need bulk. We don't need to be huge. Now, if you want to be huge, hey, go do it. You got a lot of work ahead of you. But it's beautiful too. Like, there's a bunch of different beautiful bodies, right? But if you want to be long, lean, that's my style of training. That is what I like to build bodies around. That's the clients I work with one-on-one. That's what we build towards. If somebody's looking to be a bodybuilder, they don't usually come to me.
No.
They don't. I mean, I like the long, lean, beautiful muscles, but yet functional. I like functional health. I like functional health. I'm going to build a body that if you want to go shopping and buy a ton of amazing clothes, you can carry your own bags. You want to go to the grocery store, you can get up to your condo on the 10th floor if you had to walk the stairs.
Carry your own bags. I'm glad you said that.
But I don't have to do that. That's why I have a man. But there is so many benefits to protein. It's for your hair. It is for bone health. It is for cravings. So when you eat protein, it's going to fill you up. You're going to be full. So when you say I can't intake enough protein, I get too full. Well, eat your protein first. Eat your protein and veggies first, and then save your starchy carbs for after that. If you don't have room to eat those, you're fine. So eat those two things first. And if you're full, then you got your protein in. But protein will keep you full longer. You also burn more calories digesting protein. So it's like a win-win. And a lot of people say, well, protein puts too many calories on. No, it doesn't. I mean, if you're eating a ton of like non-lean protein, yes. But in general, protein doesn't have a ton of calories. Processed food.
Well, you're also paying attention at least somewhat to your calories.
Yes, you have to be aware. Yeah. You don't need to obsess.
Yes, you're not pounding excess calories of meat. You're just making sure that the proportions of the protein is higher than what normally.
And if you're hungry, truly hungry, and you're willing to go eat a grilled chicken tender or a grilled chicken thigh or some eggs, like some hard-boiled eggs, then you're probably truly hungry. But if you're sitting there, I just want a piece of chocolate, and you're not willing to eat those other things, then you're probably just craving. Yeah. And the things that protein does help with cravings. Also, movement helps with cravings. If you're sitting around craving all the time, break that. Like if your nighttime routine is to sit on the couch and have a piece of chocolate and a glass of wine, if you sit on the couch every night and you try not to have that, your mind's going to consume like, I need to have this, because this is what you've always done. It's part of your routine. So now you need to change your routine. That means you should not sit on the couch at night for a little bit. Break that habit, whether it be you go out for a walk or you get on the phone and talk to somebody. You got to change what you've always done to change that habit. If you continue to sit on the couch, your mind is just going to consume, and then all of a sudden you're going to have 3 squares of chocolate. And you're going to be like, forget this, I'm out. But the whole purpose to this podcast is not to bash any one diet, because I think that everybody has their reasons why they do anything. But I really would love for you guys to look more at just a healthy, balanced, longevity lifestyle. No crash course. This doesn't end in 6 weeks. This doesn't end in 6 months. This is a healthy lifestyle that you guys can take all the way through your elderly years. Speaking of elderly years, I had clients that were in their 80s.
Oh, it's my favorite story.
And they were holding hands. I've trained them for 10 years, 12 years.
At that point, was it about a decade you were training them before their little accident?
Yeah, probably 10 years. And they fell. They were holding hands, so they fell together. And she broke her hip, and he did great. He sprained an ankle, and that was it. Yeah.
Wild.
They tripped on like this little hill.
They stepped over a curb. They didn't know it was a hill on the other side of the curb, and they both went.
But she broke her hip, but she did have osteoporosis. She's a vegan, and she had osteoporosis. But I can never say that word very good, so don't mind me. But she did heal really well because she still had muscle mass, though.
The greatest thing about it is that he had a more balanced lifestyle, or more balanced diet.
He wasn't vegan.
He had a little bit more balance to his diet. And he didn't even break anything. He sprained something and went down. But also the muscle that he had been building with your workouts helped him recover better too. She had osteoporosis. It was a diet thing. They'd always talked about their nutrition, and that's just not what she believed in. And she had developed osteoporosis, and partly because of that. So she went down. She did break her hip. But still, the muscle that she had helped her be able to recover quicker, helped her be able to lift herself up from onto like a walker from the wheelchair she was in during the hip surgery. She was able to do stuff because she had the strength surrounding it. So like it helped her get better and get back to normal quicker because of the muscle mass. And I think it was just a perfect anecdotal evidence of how you might want to live your life and how doing the hard things now can help you during the hard times later.
Because you hear those stories of people that take a fall in their 80s and then they break their hip and they spiral out of control, and it's like one thing leads to the next thing, and that's literally the spiral to the end of their life. It's kind of terrible. Be
sad, yeah, but neither of them spiraled.
Oh no, absolutely not. She thrived. We actually started training, I think, a week after her surgery. We were back to training. Obviously, she was on a walker, but we still did upper body.
But she still held herself up.
Yeah, we were able to do core. Like, she was great. And we did a lot of her rehab, and she did fantastic.
And both of them had a lot of mental capacity. Like, they were strong-willed people.
They were they were determined.
Determined, yeah.
Determined to still be. She liked to walk, and she liked to be able to do. And you know what? Here's one more story about him, actually. His goal with me, so he had Parkinson's. And we were still running 10 years into his Parkinson's diagnosis. We were still running 2 times a week. We were running 2 times a week. But his goal was to be able to put his pants on without holding on. And when he hit that, I mean, it didn't take 10 years. I don't remember how many years it took. So we worked a lot on, balance and strength and one-legged stuff and just doing it all. And he said that was my proud moment when I could put my pants on without holding on, Erin. I was like, proud trainer. But no, seriously, I want to wrap this up because I don't want to feel like I'm harping on you guys. I really just want to educate you guys to don't read everything, learn from everybody, pull things out of each thing, and then find what works for your body. A healthy, balanced lifestyle is the easiest way to live longevity. Keto works quick. If you cut out all starches, are you going to lose weight? Absolutely, you're going to lose weight. But there's some people that can live that way forever. Very, very, very few. As soon as you start eating those starches, you're going to gain weight.
As soon as you leave ketosis.
As soon as you start eating them, you're going to gain the weight massively. So the better point is to cut them down lower and don't cut them out. That's what I like to do for myself. I cut my starches down lower and don't cut them out, because as soon as you reintroduce them, then you're just going to balloon up. And then you're like, oh man, what do I do now? So vegetables, fantastic. Now, if you listen to carnivore, vegetables are terrible. But I believe it shouldn't be all vegetables.
Yeah. You can get a lot if you take a daily vitamin, you can get a lot of those daily vitamin ingredients from the vegetables.
Yeah. You can take less supplements if you eat your vegetables. How about that? And meat's got amazing benefits to it. It's more than protein in there. There's so many micronutrients in there that are amazing for you.
That you can't get else, like full chain amino acids, right?
Yeah.
That you can get from protein that you can't get from vegetable proteins.
Like you can get your creatine naturally without taking creatine too, but not if you don't eat meat. But so that is a wrap for today. And I hope you guys, one last thing. Sorry, I think I already said that, but you're going to ask how much protein should you take in a day? That is a really good question. And it is your ideal body weight. So if you weigh 175 pounds, but your ideal body weight is, let's say 125, and that's where you're trying to get down to, or maybe your ideal body weight is 140. Try to shoot for 140 grams of protein. Super easy way to look at it. So don't eat for where you're at, eat for the ideal body weight of where you should be, and make sure you're hydrating. If you up your protein, if you go from 30 grams of protein right now and you decide I'm going to up it to 140 next week, your digestive system is going to hate you. And your husband is going to hate you because you're going to be playing Dutch oven in the sheets.
It's just funny. It's so funny.
So the answer there is do it slow. So if you're like at 30, 40, up at 20, 30 for a week, and then up it again the next week, and then get to it. Yeah, the protein.
Grams of protein a
day. But if you go from 30 grams of protein to 140 grams of protein, you got to take away somewhere else, right? So if you were eating all carbs, that has to drop, because if you just up this and keep everything else up, you're going to gain weight. So you can't up one without altering the other. So if you up that, then how about you drop your starches? I didn't say cut them out, but drop your starches down and eat correct portions of really clean starches, not the highly processed stuff. I'm talking about like the quinoas, the brown rice, the oats, things like that, the sweet potatoes, things like that. Eat them in smaller portions, eat them earlier in the day, and make sure you're hydrating so you guys can keep pooping. Please hydrate. And you're going to
have a whole podcast about pooping. We really do.
Oh, we talk about it too much.
Oh, that'd be great.
Doesn't everyone talk about pooping? Like we send pictures.
The poop episode coming soon.
But hydrate. And you're going to say, how much water do you really need? Half your body weight in ounces. That is your baseline. So if you weigh 150 pounds, your baseline of water is 75 ounces. Now, that doesn't account for caffeine, which is coffee, teas, whatever energy drinks you drink. It doesn't account for exercise. It doesn't account for medicines that are dehydrating. It doesn't count for just sweating if it's hot outside. So that is your baseline. Everything there, you got to up it. And you know what I just read? I know we're supposed to be done. Read that 1 cup of coffee, you're supposed to have in 5 glasses of water to make up for 1 cup of coffee with dehydration.
The only reason I don't think that's true is because I don't do it.
And last thing, like I said this 5 million times, please don't start your day off with coffee. Start your day off with water, because you've dehydrated your body all night long. So for the last 8 hours, you haven't had any water. You're well dehydrated. If you go right to coffee, now you're like double dehydrated. And you want to have a headache first thing in the morning. You're like, why the hell do I have a headache? Well, that could be it. So let's say dehydrate over the night. First thing in the morning, chug that water. And then take your AG. And then have your coffee. There you go. Hey, that was a wrap. I would love to hear, like, in the comments below, you guys tell me, what nutrition things are you struggling with? What did you take something from this that you're like, wait, I can actually do this? Or are you like, Erin, you're crazy or you're boring? But give us some constructive criticism below, or maybe something we can hit on in another podcast, another nutrition thing.
Make sure you subscribe for more health and daily facts from the Opria Open Mic.
And cheers.
Yeah, we'll see you another time.
See ya.